enter Mohammed Hamza. The future.
Oh.
Mohammed. Bo or Mohammed? Or either one. Okay.
It's really nice and light in here.
Good evening, everybody. Just want to thank you all for coming to Pechakucha number 5. It's a real privilege to be here tonight and talk to you about my passion. Hydrogen. Hydrogen, the most abundant element in the universe, yet unfortunately the most underutilized. Hydrogen's got a bad rap. A lot of people think about danger, explosion, and perhaps this is not a viable sort of storage fuel source. I beg to differ. But this is exactly why we're all terrified of hydrogen. Everybody remembers the Hindenburg. In fact, nobody died actually in this incident from hydrogen. The hydrogen escaped at 25 meters per second up, and what you see on fire is the doping, the structure, and the subsequent collapse that killed everybody. So in fact, hydrogen was never the culprit in this scenario. The Anthropocene, okay? The Anthropocene. This is the term to donate our epoch, our man's activities that are irreversible effect on our environment and ecosystem. We have other methods of doing sort of translating energy into our social being, but unfortunately we are not pursuing that. We are still spending trillions and trillions of dollars on oil, fighting for land in the Middle East to secure 60 to 100 years worth of oil reserves. There's got to be a better way than this. It really has to be. It saddens me every time I go to the pump and I'm part of this sort of scheme. This is money well spent as far as I'm concerned in the case of hydrogen. This is where a hydrogen fuel cell was actually called the bacon fuel cell, which I love because it sounds like one of my favorite foods. But more importantly, it was very simplistic. It allowed them to travel from the Earth all the way to the moon and back, providing all their heat, water, electricity, and oxygen. This is Bermuda. It's a beautifully tiny, crazy small island with one of the biggest GDPs in the world. Over 75% of our GDP goes off this island to purchasing oil. So in your lifetime, 75% of what you've earned, or what you're worth, is leaving Bermuda for oil. Hydrogen is safe. It can be stored. It can be handled. Someone with the equipment in their hand, just hold it up for me. Who's got it? Right there, there's 12 liters of hydrogen gas compressed in the hydraulic cylinder. What? That's safely charging my cell phone. I can take that on the plane, no problem. I did 2 full canisters, in fact. We're going to prove this in 2015. This is our Voyager. We're going to navigate this boat from New York to Bermuda and set the world speed record for electric boat in 2015. The hydrogen fuel cell vehicle. Self-fueling. This is going to get Bermuda on the map, and I'm going to do my damn best to make it happen. 1904, a guy called George Marshall Allen started a small, out of a sawmill in East Broadway, a small electric light company. He had a gas suction engine that produced 50 kilowatts, which was enough to light a sign at night. Things have changed, but only in scale. In 1909, they bought 2 large engines and moved to the current location. I don't demonize Belco. They're a wagon and horses. They've got us to this point. They've allowed us to create our infrastructure. They've been the workhorse. Reliable, there, and far better electrical service than many other places in the Caribbean. But they won't get us the rest of the distance. Things have to change. Ani. Everybody gets on it. The California Air Commission decided to go after big oil to put the infrastructure of 100 hydrogen fueling stations in to support Toyota's launch of their fuel cell car and other fuel manufacturers. And they said, no way, we'll sue you in federal court. So what happened was, everybody got together and had the licensing fees, they found some money, and now the whole thing is going to be put in place. My point being is, together, we're going to have to take the brunt of this. We're going to have to pay for this technological shift. But it's a small payment in comparison to where we would be going otherwise. But like I said, it's up to us to demand it. It's up to us to understand it. Germany is a really great example of this. 40% of all their renewable energies is owned by people like you, me, everybody in this room. They have their own slice of the energy market. Who has the slice of the energy market in Bermuda?
No.
Exactly. I believe we can do better numbers in Bermuda. In fact, I believe we can own about 65%, and I'm going to do everything in my power to make that happen. But we have to take into account these four principles. Expand renewable energy, okay? Produce tangible economic benefits, remain flexible enough to account for energy consumers' preferences, and be additive. Basically use all our resources that we have right now and implement them in a proper, efficient manner to succeed. Mr. Jones, Mr. Outerbridge, Mr. Smith, they can all be their own energy service providers. At 17 cents a kilowatt, the ROIs on a lot of these larger projects in Bermuda are in the 15-20 year mark. They're not feasible. But when we all become our own energy service providers and sell the electricity to each other, well, all of a sudden it's down to 3 years. This is what we're doing every day. Every day we get up, every day we brush our teeth, get into our car. We're playing a game of Russian roulette with our economy because it's entirely based on diesel fuel. We're putting the gun to our head every single day. I wish it would change. I wish it would change tomorrow, but it's going to be a process. But in that process, we're very vulnerable. There is a bright future ahead. With proper green technology share schemes, with proper education, with the ability to translate available technology into actual working examples, it could happen. We could be the forefront. Bermuda can be the accolade. We underutilize biomass, we underutilize wind, and we still underutilize solar. But together, used with hydrogen storage and fuel cell capacity feeding a grid, we can have a smart grid system that rivals any in the world in Bermuda. It's our way out of this crux, and we really need to focus on this as a people, as a nation. The Rasta Triangle of Truth, or economic sustainability. Values, culture, teaching. If you're unaware of this technology, that hydrogen bomb, where's the hydrogen bomb? Is it out there somewhere? Somebody's got the hydrogen bomb. If we can dispel these myths, we can educate our youth, educate the businesses, educate people in their mindset on how to approach this new movement. Then, like Abraham Lincoln said, and he said it very effectively, the best way to predict the future is to create it. It's up to everybody in this room to demand something different, to allow new technologies and new ways of thinking to be implemented on this island for the sake of us all. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
I do have an electric bike.
You have an electric bike?
Yes. How can I have a charger? It's like yours. You have a new phone. How can I have
It's totally possible. Actually, in January we'll have a whole line. Our company will have a whole line of home chargers. So if it's a gale outside and it's cold and it's a winter storm, you lose your electricity. You can have the hydrogen fuel cell system in your living room. If there's no pollutants, it's just water vapor and heat.
What's your company name?
It's called Dragonfly.
And when
In January. I'll provide, anyone who's interested, come see me after the event. I'll give you all my particulars and details. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
I saw some pumps that were behind HSBC, and they looked like they were hydrogen gas pumps.
electric cars.
You mean on Elbow Point?
That's
That's car.
Electricity.
Okay, does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Anybody else? Got any questions?
You said something, 20-year payback period turns into 3-year payback period. Talk about that.
The financials. If a couple of our larger clients have come to us and said, Mohammed, we have a big problem. We put a 1 megawatt array, and our energy service provider will not give us more than 17 cents per kilowatt back. They won't pay for all the integrated infrastructure. They won't pay for this. They won't pay for that. And this ROI is like in 22 years. It doesn't make any sense for them to move. Nothing will change. You can't ask Belco, which is a corporate institution whose whole design is to safeguard their shareholders' profit, to change. We have to marry this idea. We have to ask for something different, and we need a legislative shift in our government to make this happen.
What was that building, the community with the soda panels on it?
Oh, yes, Tiago, that was just around the corner from where you live, actually. Just up on the North Shore by Napton, not Napton Hill.
Radnor Road.
Radnor Road, thank you, Radnor Road, yeah. Yes, go ahead.
You mentioned something about legislation and the change in the shift in Bermuda legislation in order to make a major change in the hydrogen power.
Well, it's not the hydrogen power, it's the very principles of the exchange of electricity between individuals like ourselves and our dependence on an energy service provider. If that's where we always got water and it's not giving us water anymore, what do? Go thirsty, or do we look for another way to find water? Basically, that's what we're dealing with here, is that we can't lend our sort of belief structure to a corporation or a bunch of individuals in our government who aren't aware of what is possible or unwilling to change.
So basically, it's all about change then.
It is. It's about changing your thinking. I mean, personally, our business partner, Mike Stritsky, who look at on YouTube, his whole house in New Jersey runs off hydrogen, and he hasn't had an incident yet. He's actually paid every year a plus money check from his energy service provider. Until net metering happens in Bermuda, where for every kilowatt you make, Belco pays you what they charge you, then you're not going to see this movement take off. So it's up to us to become the energy service provider, us to sort of figure out these sort of profit and cost sort of share schematics. Thank you very much.